So may this Pesach be symbolically carry us through to the place where old habits are cleansed and the buds of new habits are emerging.
אלוהי, נשמה שנתת בי, טהורה.
Good morning, everybody. This is a very special morning, Erev Pesach. I wanted to offer a short piece teaching here on the Haggadah, commentary by a colleague and friend, Michael Kagan of Yerushalayim, who wrote the Holistic Haggadah, and which I recommend. It's a wonderful Haggadah, has been published for so many years now. 2004 was when this Haggadah came out. And what is Manishtana? Tonight is the night of asking questions, particularly 4 questions, which is in keeping with our tradition of asking questions. So the 4 questions are very interesting. Manishtana halayla hazeh mikol haleilot. What has changed this night from all the other nights? Shebechol haleilot anu ochlin chametz umatzah. Halayla hazeh kulo matzah. That on all the other nights we can eat both chametz and matzah. But on this night, everything is matzah? How come? That's question 1. Other question is, what has changed this night from all other nights? Shebechol halilot anu ochlin she'ar yerakot, halayla hazeh maror. How come on all other nights we eat other vegetables, but this night maror is the only one, or the primary one, the signature vegetable is maror, the bitter one. How come? The 4th question is, how is this night different from all nights? That on all other nights we don't dip our food even once. Who dips food in salt water? But on this night we dip twice in salt water. How come? How is this night different than all other nights? That on all other nights, shebechol halilot anu ochlin ben yoshvin uven mesubin, halayla hazeh kulanu mesubin. On all other nights we eat either sitting or reclining, but on this night we are all reclining. We recline to the left. How come? Here we go. The order of these questions is a significant and can be seen as an abbreviated process for healing into God. So in this, there's hidden a formula of how to heal into God, like a 4-step program. And if you're familiar with 12-step, so this is the 4-step program. So here are the 4 steps. Step 1, recognize that you are trapped and living in the life of a slave. Be willing to deflate your ego. And the ego is represented in the Seder as by the Matzah. So be ready to deflate your ego, like the bread that's deflated into a flat matzah. Begin practicing humility. Admit that you cannot do this on your own and allow yourself to turn back to God. Step number 1. Step number 2. Be willing to face the bitter truth, and that's represented by maror, by the bitter herb, of who you are and how you are living your lies. Practice telling the truth. Step number 2. Let's go to step number 3. Do not be afraid to step into the layers of pain that surround the heart. Grieve all the losses and be willing to let the tears, that's the salt water of the karpas, flow. Renew the contact with your heart energy. Let the inner bitterness be miraculously transformed by love into love. And that is represented in the Seder when we dip maror into the charoset, into the sweet charoset. That was step 3. So we have deflating the ego, we have facing the bitter truth, and then we have dipping into the deeper layers of the heart and allowing the tears to flow. And here's step number 4. Let your over-judgmental self rest. By practicing acts of loving kindness, let yourself be filled with compassion. Hand over to God the heaviness of your burden and let yourself rest in God's hands. For Hashem Tzivaot, God of the battle, has promised to deliver if you are willing to be delivered. So here we have a wonderful psycho-spiritual understanding of the 4 questions. And notice that the 4 questions are really split into 2. There's the first 2 questions, and then there's the 3 and 4 that are the last questions. And the first 2 questions are really relating both to the trauma, to the experience of bitterness. So the matzah is, the bread of poverty, as it's also called, lechem oni, and the bitterness, the maror, is the bitterness of the unwanted condition. Those are the first 2. But what happens with the second 2? The second 2, we have the dipping, and the dipping was a mark of freedom. So in ancient days, the aristocracy, simple folks or hardworking folks would just eat their food, sort of straight, the bread and the cheese or the meat or whatever it was. But those who were liberated, had the luxury, right? Those who lived in luxury would dip their food in the salt water. It was a sign of affluence, of power. It was a sign of abundance. Salt in those days was very, very expensive. It was a luxury item. So the dipping of the in salt water, even though symbolically it means dipping into the tears, in ancient days it was a sign of, it was a reenactment of being liberated, free, abundant, prosperous, etc. Right? So that is the third question. The fourth question is the reclining to the left. The reclining to the left is also an act of luxury. That was what the nobility used to do. They used to lounge, and this Seder, as we have it, comes from the days of the Roman Empire, where the nobility used to lounge in sofas, leaning to the left and being served. So you see that the first questions are relating to slavery, relating to the condition that we want liberation from. And now, obviously, I'm not talking about a literal slavery. I'm talking about slavery of the mind, slavery of the heart, slavery of social slavery, slavery of the psyche, which could look like lots of different things. What is it that you want to be liberated from? This is the unwanted condition that we want liberated from, whether mental, emotional, spiritual, or physical. And the second part of the 4 questions is now referring to the possibility, the wanted condition, the ideal, that which we're striving for, right? The luxurious, abundant, free condition. So the four questions are holding the first half and the second half, which are also represented in the Seder when we break the Matzah into two halves. One half is representing the bread of poverty, the other half becomes the afikoman later. The afikoman is a test of liberation. So you see that there's this breaking in half, there's there's what's before, and there's what's after, and we are always in the middle, in the present moment, in our moment in that process, which is really eternal and ongoing. So may the four questions be four directional signs to awareness of where we're coming from and a clear vision of where we're going to, where you are going to in your life. May this Passover be the Passover of transformation, where you're taking another step from the you that you'd like to leave behind, the chametz, right, the leaven that you want to cleanse out and leave behind, towards the ideal, right, the afikoman that you want to reclaim for yourself, which is the you who's made in the image of God. Isn't that what life is all about? I want to wish us all an amazing Pesach. May this Pesach be, in the context of COVID-19 and the lockdown and the havoc that's being wreaked on our lives, and being forced into shedding off old habits, the habits of going to work, the habits of our routines, our comforts, right? The habits of making money, the habits of associating with the people that we're used to associate with, and now we're at home. We're forced into new routines, into new challenges, the challenges of simplifying, the challenges of being in lockdown. So may this Pesach be symbolically carry us through to the place where old habits are cleansed and the buds of new habits are emerging in the chaos and in the disruption. So have a Chag Sameach, have a Pesach of all delights, all joy. Shalom for now.